LeBron, he blew that series.
All right, get Buckeyes with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Better know your favorite NBA parlay players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
So I sent Earl a couple ideas for topics today. And I had mentioned a rumor I saw that Jonathan Allen of the Washington Commanders could be a trade candidate for teams across the league because they're going to rebuild with Dan Quinn now. I see the rundown come out, and it had Josh Allen of the Jaguars. And I was like, where's this rumor coming from? So I Google, like, Jaguars, Josh Allen trade rumors. Can't find anything. He's not franchise tagged yet. Deadline's 4 o'clock today, but nothing had come up. So I text Earl. I'm like, Earl, where'd you see this Josh Allen thing? I sent you about Jonathan Allen. And he's like, no, you definitely sent Josh. So I went to my email, and I said Jonathan. But because Josh Allen has not been tagged yet, Earl admitted that is his dream outcome for the Browns this offseason, is somehow finding a way to acquire Josh Allen from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll talk about Jonathan Allen in a sec. Let's start with Josh Allen. He has not been franchise tagged yet, Tyvis. We've talked about him in previous shows.
Y'all, boy, the reach that be going on in here. Let's just skip this because there's no way that Josh Allen is not getting tagged or not getting a deal with Jacksonville. It would be absolutely insane for him to not stay there. I mean, look at his stats from last year. Now, don't get me wrong. He wants to come to the Cleveland Browns and play opposite of Myles Garrett, and they don't win a Super Bowl. Shame on the Cleveland Browns. They should blow up the whole thing because you got a dominant defensive line there that's actually very productive. You'll finally have your piece opposite of Myles Garrett that can get things done. However, this scenario is not going to happen.
I did kind of raise an eyebrow when I saw it on the rundown.
I seen it on the rundown too, and I'm just like, I was like, you know what? I guess we just pulling straws here.
It's March.
Yeah.
So the Josh Allen thing.
Now,
Earl,
Jonathan Allen, we can have a conversation about.
It came from Earl's deepest, darkest desires of what he wants the Browns to do this offseason.
Oh, we know all about Earl's deepest, darkest desires.
Yeah. Hey, that boy working overtime, wasn't he? That boy Earl got caught up.
Yeah. Earl, would you like to comment?
I'm just trying to produce the show, man. I'm catching strays for no reason.
That boy Jason put him in the spotlight.
Well, Jay did it yesterday, too. Jay kind of put him on the spot yesterday, too. But the Jonathan Allen thing, there is some potential viability to a trade between the Cleveland Browns and the Washington Commanders. Jonathan Allen has 2 years left on his deal. They're in a rebuild. They just hired Dan Quinn. They just gave Deron Payne, the defensive tackle, $22.5 million a year. Mm-hmm. Allen's 29 years old, or will be 29 during the season. Still productive. Numbers down a little bit from last season, but the Commanders' defense in totality was a complete catastrophe, so I'm willing to kind of overlook that. He does have a pretty big cap hit this upcoming season and next season, Tyvis. I'll save my thoughts for the end here because I kind of have a secondary idea to the whole Jonathan Allen preposition here, but we've seen what Jim Schwartz has done with defensive tackles in the past. Any defensive tackle that comes into his system seems to have its best season. Mm-hmm. Fletcher Cox, Jeffrey Simmons, and I'll even throw Jordan Elliott into that mix. Different caliber of players. We're talking all-pro guys. But Jordan Elliott was a guy who went from a nobody to a guy who's going to make a decent check in free agency this offseason. If the Commanders are willing to listen, would you be interested in possibly having that discussion if you were the Browns about acquiring Jonathan Allen, the two-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle?
First off, shout out to the Commanders' new GM, Adam Peters. Adam Peters and I have met multiple times in my San Francisco career. He literally hired and fired me literally about 9 times. So we have a really good relationship. Shout out to you, Adam Peters.
Can we get him on the show? Are you that tight with him?
No, I ain't that tight with him, man. He was the one.
At least he fired you 9 times.
He was the one that I said, so you called me up here to give me my bonus because you see how well I've been doing. And we just laughed about it. He said, nope, Tyvis, we letting you go. But we'll bring you back on Monday. So it is one of those things. But anyways, I think that Jonathan Allen is Jonathan Allen. Y'all got me thinking of Josh Allen now. Jonathan Allen would be a great addition to the Cleveland Browns. The cap hit thing, like we already trying to Like, make it. This will be considered your splash move.
This would be a splash
season.
move. His cap hit for this season is about $21 million. His cap hit for next season is $23 million.
Don't get me wrong. Him on the defensive line, him, Dalvin, Miles, and Alex Wright is fine. That would be a really good defensive line. That can be a productive defensive line. You got a player who's had production or that's been good in the NFL. He get with Jim Schwartz, he'll probably have his best season. But I don't know if that cap hit is worth. I don't know if he's worth. What is do y'all so happen to have Dalvin Tomlinson's season stats from this year on tag board?
Do we not on tag board? We have it in the system.
Or in
Steve,
the
you want to pull up
system,
Dalvin
excuse me.
Tomlinson's season stats? I know he had 3 sacks. They all came against Arizona.
See, I mean,
They get 28 tackles, 3 sacks.
if they went with this move, I wouldn't be mad at it. It would be okay. I don't think it's a home run. Like, if I'm gonna make a splash move, I wouldn't call this a splash move, if that makes sense. I think he come in here, be very productive. I think Jim Schwartz will get the best out of him. I think he instantly makes the defensive line better, but I don't think that helps you get to the Super Bowl, if that makes sense.
Jason?
If you get one splash move, I'd rather it be at receiver and make – but those options are dwindling. Yeah. So it's so hard to say. I personally, I'm just kind of getting the sense that they're going to try and bring Za'Darius back, I think.
He's an end, though. This is a tackle. This is a little different position.
You're right. I'm thinking Josh Allen.
See? I'm telling you.
Earl had tainted the water
They
here.
messed up everything with
Josh
that.
Allen probably
I would not pursue tackle. I would not. I think that there's better avenues to spend dollars on. There's more pressing areas of need. Dalvin Tomlinson was the big splash move last year at that spot. That was a big money hire. Don't know that I would do that 2 years in a row. I would look at end, but I do think Za'Darius is coming back, and I think you would look at receiver, although, again, those options are dwindling. So the splash move might be drafting a second-round receiver in the draft. That might be the splash move.
I just think that if you're going to go tackle, I'd rather Christian Wilkins, a guy who had, 10 sacks, 9 sacks last season. Like, that's something.
Now, his cap hit's going to be even higher than
Allen, but that's
it's your splash play.
That's a bigger splash move to me. Like, that's a guy that's ultimately productive. That's a guy that you can think of just Pittsburgh. They got Cam Hayward, who plays defensive tackle in TJ. Now you get Miles with a really good guy that's a good pass rusher that's very productive in the interior. Now that does mean you can't be double team or triple team to that side anymore. Now you absolutely are upgrading things. Like, that's worth that. Mm-hmm. But if it's not that, like 5 sacks, like what did Jordan Elliott have? Like, what did Mo Hurst have?
Well, he did have 9 sacks 2 years ago.
Who did?
Allen.
Okay.
So his numbers were down this season. Now, the Commanders' defense in total was just bad. They didn't get many sacks as a team. He'd been way more productive in the past. He had 31 quarterback hits in 2021.
I mean, that's really good.
He had a PFF's not
He's
the
a good player. Don't get me wrong.
PFF
He's
grades
really
are not
good.
the end-all, be-all. We had a 92 pass rush grade in 2021 and a plus 80 pass rush grade in the 3 seasons prior to last season. Last year was a down year across the board.
Had this been last year, we would all be saying yes, please.
Yeah.
Coming
like
off
I
the year
said,
before in free agency, I think we would all be. I just think they've done enough.
I'd take
they're adequate
it.
in the middle.
I'd take it.
Let me ask you guys this, because this is kind of where I pivoted a little bit on this. Because I'm with you. I don't think tackle is their most pressing need, but I think it may be their biggest area to get I want to use this loosely, a star caliber player. If it's Wilkins is clearly a star. Allen, I think, is a very, very good player. I wouldn't say he's a star. Mm-hmm. But would you consider, to alleviate some of the cap hit that you bring in with Allen, a bit of a player trade? Now, not Newsome, but Wyatt Teller. Just throwing it out. Just throwing it out there as a possibility. Would you trade Teller for Jonathan Allen straight up?
Who's the backup guard?
Well, they probably have to sign one because Michael Dunn is a pending free agent. But
Dunn's probably not coming
the
back.
reason Washington would at least consider this is they're probably going to draft a quarterback with the 2nd overall pick, right? Mm-hmm. Got to keep that guy healthy, keep him standing. They need help on the offensive line, new offensive coordinator, pass-happy offense, and they already have Deron Payne at defensive tackle. It's not a perfect even cap hit, but just asking.
Who's their right guard? I don't know who their right guard is.
For Washington,
yeah,
their offensive line wasn't good. They got the most sacks in football last year. So whoever it is, Teller's an upgrade.
So Teller for
Jonathan Allen.
I'd take it. They would never do that, but I would take that trade.
I don't think I would make that trade.
I'd make the trade.
And not
So
just
you
because
would.
I like Wyatt.
You wouldn't.
I'm about to say he got personal reasons.
And make this a poll. Would you trade Wyatt Teller for Jonathan
Yes.
Allen straight up?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you do it?
Because I think you have a lot of questions.
It's not a crazy proposal.
It's not.
It's not a crazy proposal.
It's not at all.
It's not a crazy proposal. And I don't and the reason I hedge on it is because I don't know how long the Browns can continue to pay two guards 16, 17 million or whatever it is Bitonio and Wyatt are making. Wyatt's been banged up now 2 years in a row. I don't know how much trade value he has at 29, but from the Browns' perspective, I think he's very valuable to what they do and the scheme that they run. He's so good when he's healthy.
Schemes changing.
Well, that's true. On the pulling guards though, like, and you bring up a good point. Like, how much are they going to do that?
I don't know.
With him, no, but it's fair.
It's a good point, yeah.
Because one thing that he's really good at is he's the kick out guard on those pull runs.
He's phenomenal at that.
He's terrific at that. And if you're going to bring Nick back, and if you still want to have a semblance of a run game, and I don't know that there's a ready-made replacement for him. Can Nick Harris be your starting right guard? I don't think so. He's small.
He's a pending free agent too.
Yeah, but you
know what?
bring him back
You know what
cheap,
this
yeah.
means? It's time for those Buckeyes to step up. Luke Whippler can definitely get the job done. Okay. Now the problem is the only reason
Can
that
he play guard? Could Whippler
I'm sure
play
he
guard?
could. He's centers can play guard.
I don't know if Nick Harris can. He's small.
So
He's
what?
small.
I'm talking about as far as like getting in there. I don't like. He ain't got to worry about responsibility. Like if you're a center, you know everything.
Yeah.
So I know that he could come in and know what he
And, I mean,
has.
You can also draft
He
guard.
knows
Yeah.
what he
Draft guard.
has.
That's one of the positions that's most easily translatable
Yeah.
from the college.
My only.
I'm not even saying I would. I just think it's an interesting thought
the
process
only
here. 'Cause I think it
reason-
does benefit both teams.
The only reason I push back on it is if Bill Callahan was still here, I'd tell you go ahead. But now that he gone and they got a new offensive line, I don't know because I don't know what to expect
Yeah.
from this guy. I don't know.
I don't know if Washington wants a 29-year-old guard who's had a lot of leg problems the last couple of years either. Who's making $17 million.
But they save money because it's technically a lower cap hit than.
Well,
Jonathan Allen.
I said if I'm Washington, I would not take that trade. But if they willing to do it, I would because
Yeah, from the Browns' perspective. So you would from the Browns' perspective.
yeah.
You wouldn't.
It's a good question. My initial reaction was no, but the more I think through it, I think maybe you do have to consider it. I just don't know that. I guess I'm not opposed to moving Wyatt in the right situation. I just don't know that defensive tackle is a big area of need right now. I think that there's better positions to target for that if you're going to make that move. But also, I don't know if a right guard's going to bring you back the position of need.
and the reason I throw out Washington was we're talking about Allen, but they are about to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
They gave up the most sacks in the NFL last season.
Yeah.
Any help on the offensive line is much needed. It saves them money. And, they already have Deron Payne at defensive tackle. Obviously,
Yeah.
having two is a luxury.
It's not
but
outrageous. It's not outrageous.
fun thought exercise.
Yeah, you've had some wacky ones, but you call them that this is insane.
I usually tell you when I know
Yeah.
something could be plausible,
Yeah.
I'll give you this could actually happen. I don't think this one will happen.
This is a compliment to you. There are very few people, because I normally roll my eyes at the whole trade game and trade scenarios because I don't know what these guys are thinking. But Mike has hit me now with probably 3 or 4 that are like, man, that makes a lot of sense. And very few people normally come up with trade scenarios that make me say like,
The reason
wow, that's not bad.
The reason being, and I'm not diminishing, you can hide a guard. Tackle is the one. Tackle and center is the two that you can't, or
Yeah.
the 3 positions you can't hire. Both tackle and center. You can hide a guard with good tackle play or center play. You could just have a double team on that side. Like that can happen. So that's why to me a guard is somebody that is you can move on from, you could trade. But that tackle position, as we know, you can.
Browns have 3 right now, though.
Ooh, Ika, Tomlinson.
Oh, defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I thought you meant offensive tackle.
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
I'm talking.
They only have 2 under contract right now.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just Ika and Tomlinson.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, for me, yeah, I'd be fine with making that trade if I'm the Cleveland Browns because I'm going to get a lot of production out of my defensive tackle position. Now that I got him and Dalvin and Miles, like that instantly makes my defensive line really freaking good.
You might be swaying me
I-
on this.
I would say yes.
yeah.
If someone wanted to say no, I think that's a totally reasonable answer. I would say yes to this potential trade proposal because at the end of the day, as good as Jonathan Allen's been in Washington, if he could even be 5% better under Jim Schwartz, you're getting
he will. I mean, he will.
You're getting a
be.
top 7 defensive tackle in football to pair alongside Myles Garrett.
Which them is
And
so
he's-
hard to find.
And he's by far the best pass rushing tackle Myles had ever played with. And that's the one thing this year that the defensive tackles were certainly serviceable. Like, they were good. I have no complaints with what they got. But they were better against the run than they were against the pass. Most of their pressure came from Myles Garrett and the outside. Tomlinson's 3 sacks all came against Arizona. Mo Hurst was their best interior pass rusher, and Mo Hurst is a good player. Jonathan Allen is a much better pass rusher.
Yeah,
That could be a
you guys
dangerous
are making
proposition.
a compelling case. I guess I'd probably have to change.
Earl,
my
what do you
mind
think on that? Would you do it?
I was optimizing the videos. I didn't hear nothing y'all was talking about.
Wyatt Teller for Jonathan Allen.
Wyatt Teller. Hell yeah, I'll do
Jonathan Allen, not
Yeah,
Josh Allen.
Jonathan.
that. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So that's a what did the poll say? Do we put a poll up?
So, I got the poll up, and it says, would you trade Jonathan Eller for Teller? 51% says yes, 49% says no.
If you got a 50-50 split on a trade, it's probably a halfway decent proposal.
Yeah, it's not bad.
What was the results?
51 yes, 49 no.
That's actually.
The more I think about it,
Don't tell Wyatt. I really like Wyatt.
The
We
more
want his wife to come on the show, too, so don't mention this to her.
the more I think about it, it is compelling. I just feel like there's more pressing positions of need than defensive tackle.
I don't disagree with
if you're
that
going to
part.
trade one of your best players, because
Okay.
I still consider Wyatt one of their best players.
I do, too. I just think guard is one of the more replaceable
It is.
spots.
It is. What really gets me is when you brought up the fact that you don't know how long they're gonna continue to pay him, and I'm like, what I respect about Wyatt is didn't the whole offensive line get hurt but Wyatt last year?
Yeah.
And Wyatt,
And he did get
Wyatt
hurt,
was
too.
hurt
Yeah.
too, but
He's a warrior.
Yeah.
Absolute warrior.
And that's the one thing that I like, and like I say, guards can be hidden.
Yeah.
That's the one thing
Listen,
I learned.
in a
Guards
perfect
can be
world,
hidden.
if Washington would even entertain like Jack Conklin or Jed Willis for that, but I don't think that's realistic.
If people, and not to go off on a tangent, if people knew what Wyatt and Joel went through last year to play,
Absurd, crazy, Warriors.
and Bitonio and that to come back out and finish that Houston game. I was talking to him after that game. I don't think people have any, the man had not a Trevor Lawrence high ankle sprain. He had a legitimate high ankle sprain, and he played through it in a blowout. Like, that guy is unbelievable and should spend his entire career with the Browns. It's looking like he will. He should retire a Brown. He'll be in the Ring of Honor someday. I have so much respect for Joel Bitonio and what he stands for. Should be in the Hall of Fame, actually. I don't know if he will be or not. I don't know if he'll make it.
You talking about Wyatt or Joel?
Joel.
Yeah.
Joel should be. It's going to be hard for guards, and he doesn't have a ton of postseason accolades or anything. He's got a lot of Pro Bowls, but what a dude, man. And I already had a ton of respect for him. It went up so high talking to him after the Houston game, knowing what he went through to play in that game that was a blowout that they knew they weren't going to win, and for him to finish that out with a high ankle sprain is unbelievable.
He's
That's
a warrior. Speaking of Warriors, how about the Broncos owner being a Warrior?